Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Jason from Clarion. Welcome, Coach.
Hey Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We were just talking like Clarion is under the Pennsylvania Western University umbrella now, but for old folks like me who grew up in Ohio and knowing the PSAC, I just know it as Clarion. So I think we'll stick to that for now, right?
Yeah, it makes a life a lot easier, I think. Yeah.
I bet. I bet. Well, uh, we're talking here August 12th, getting ready to kick off the season. You've had a full year now under your belt.
Mhm.
What was it like? I know you came in kind of late, right before the season last year. So what was recruiting like for your class of 24s? What's 25s looking like? Have you started talking to 26s? Kind of what's your timeline looking like?
Yeah, it's been that transition point was crazy. I think I got hired. Well, I was in the office, I think, for the first time in July. Obviously, being so close, as you mentioned, to the start of the season, we were just getting ready for the year and the competitive um, calendar. So coming out in November, well, not just only that, but I didn't know who I had, what kind of situation my roster was in, and so on and so forth. Very lucky, I think, the work that the previous coach Alexa Ream did. I could not complain, to be honest, with the girls I had to work with. So coming out in November, we started the process, right? And I think one of the hardest things to work out when you first take over a program is knowing what kind of players, students, people fit within your school to go and get. So that was a quick learning curve we got onto, um, trying to get the right bodies, the right people to fit the program. We got a couple girls in and out in the competitive season, a huge whirlwind. We ended up bringing in 10 girls for 2024. We're excited for them to get fit in and understand the world that we're in. Some of them were learning about the program as I was learning about the program, letting some of them knew where we were going, so it made it a little easier for them. So we're excited for those girls to come in and be a part of the journey we're on. 25s, we've got five. Yeah, we already got five committed. Well, the committee's done. We're looking to add probably, I'm thinking, four or five more tops. Um, the goal for the 25s is to be a bigger class, to really elevate the competition inside the program. And we've been really lucky so far that the quality we've brought in for the 25s is really, really good. I'm really happy. And hopefully, with that in mind, we can really focus on being um, quite specific and really picky on the 26 class. So we're almost done on the 25s. We've got a couple of people talking to that we could finish off, hopefully, in a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. But yeah, we already started the 26 process already. Our goal is to get 15, 20 players in the conversation for 2026. Evaluate this season with a crop coming in, the crop we have, at the end of the season meetings in November dictates a lot of what happens moving forward. So, yeah, we're in the process of identifying the 26 now. Some have come on campus already, work out what we want in terms of our growth, finalizing the 25s, and then getting us 26 squared away come December, January, February. So.
Okay. Well, in terms of all of the recruiting and looking at it, is there places that you like to go to look at players? I mean, obviously it's hard to get anywhere in the fall because you're in the middle of the season, but when it comes to winter, spring, what are some of the tournaments, locations that you're going to go look at to check players out?
I think that one being the piece that goes to East Keys, coastal Pennsylvania helps a lot. Just population density is a good thing between Philly, Delaware, New York, New Jersey, and all that. So that is kind of a hub we'll go and attract a lot from. We pop over to Ohio all the time and get some plays over there. It's really interesting what I've learned actually in the last year. I think on the outside looking into the PSAC, especially the western side, in the safe school conversation, everybody wants to go to Slippery Rock. Everybody wants to go to IUP. If you're brave enough to go the private school route, Mercer's thankfully gone D1 now, so we don't have to worry about them too much. But Gannon's still in the conversation. Seton Hill, I know you talked to Riley the other day. These are the more attractive schools, especially when the conversation of women's soccer in the area. And so we've struggled to compete honestly locally. And I think it's just in terms of people just have comfort in those names, and that's okay. We found a lot of success finding the same standard of player, but out of state. So we got few kids coming out of the Canton area, the Cleveland area. Um, we got bringing Sophia Barbara in from Syracuse, New York. We bring Tessa Heffron from um, Virginia, Maryland area. We just got Samantha Gold from New Jersey area. So we're really just branching out there. Um, and the thing I've found is that the conversation is about the program, where it's going, who I am as a coach, um, and being a part of the journey with us instead of just being a conversation of who have you been and what names we know already. So I'm hoping that the quality of player we get in terms of devotion to a program increases significantly from that.
So when you are looking at those players, what is it that kind of makes up an ideal, recruit for you in terms of whether that's on the field attributes or off the field stuff?
I think, not to do the same dead horse, I think good people goes a long way. You know what I mean? I think where we are right now, in terms of recruiting and upping the competitive edge of the program, um, we have three P's we try to hit. We have pace, power, personality. Um, I think with that in mind right now, this allows us to have the athletes compete with better programs, and set the tone of being competitive in these games and hopefully get a better return in our records on what we do. But those three P's, I think, is a good fundamental to go. I think a lot of people tend to overemphasize upon the technical ability or the worry of that, because the reality is, if we're in conversation, we already know you can play ball. This is where the conversation is happening. So, what else can you bring? What other slither of your skill or your athleticism can come and do a different program? And those are the kind of things we're trying to find. And athleticism is a good one, especially in the PSEC. I've played different teams out of the conference, and you know, you got to get big and strong to play the PSEC. She's not nice to you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, besides going to tournaments, looking at all things around, do you guys do ID camps? Are they an important part of your recruiting process?
Yeah, I think it's the ID clinics are very much getting the people out of the weeds who really want to be in the conversation to be there with us. Um, I don't believe in signing people who have not been on campus or seen who we are, spend time with the girls. So that's a very important part. We just had one last week before, an ID clinic on campus where, again, I think it's important to see what we have and what's there. And we know if you're willing to travel to campus and see what's going on, the interest level is genuine, and you want to take it to the next level. So, yeah, a huge part of it. We've got another one coming up in September 14th, and we'll finish off with one November, I think it's 24th, to get things rolling for the next year. Then we'll come back in spring for some more ID clinics.
Well, and the one thing that's kind of taken over and looks to going to take over even more with the new NCAA stuff coming down is the transfer portal. Is that something that you guys look at all, or see yourselves looking in that direction as the trickle down from whatever happens with the NCAA comes down the pike?
Yeah, I think I think it's difficult because being Division Two, you don't want to go into the portal and find the same play that you have already. You don't want to go there and find someone who wasn't of standards. A lot of the conversation happens from people who maybe have always shot into Division One, or feel like Division One's a job. So like people who don't want to work, then maybe they can have more enjoyment in Division Two. So the disparity from Division One to Division Two in terms of I don't know, social assumption, maybe. I don't know. Makes it very difficult to get players come down and play for you in my experiences. Yeah, we'll dabble in there. We'll find the players we want to see, and that could be part of the conversation. Um, but as of right now, we've not had much to luck with that. Not something that we want to entertain, but usually, um, usually for us, I think in getting the right recruit takes time in building relationships and seeing who we are. A lot of the times, their minds are pretty much set when they're in the transfer portal. So.
No, that makes sense. Well, is there a roster size that you find is ideal that you're trying to hit for the year?
So last year we had 32 players on the roster. I think it was great for practice sizes. We travel everybody. I'm very fortunate that being in the PSAC, travel demand isn't too great for us. Doesn't hurt the budget. So we're happy that we can take everybody and everybody on the roster is a part of the process. Um, I had venture would end up being down to 29 this year. Um, People got injured in the summer or whatever it might be. Um, I think the ideal roster number would be 27. I don't know if the reality of being again in the PSEC allows that to happen. Again, it's a very physical conference. Um, People get banged up working hard in the field. So I think 27-32 is where we'll always stay at. I'm really thankful that we don't have a roster limit to entertain. If I went out and got 16 players and stayed at 16 for the next 10 years, I don't think the AD would be mad at me. But we got to win. So the reality is, I think between 27 and 30 is a sweet spot.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. I'm sure there's folks out there maybe not familiar with Clarion. You've been there a year now. So, well, what was it that attracted you to the university? What is it, some of the things you found in your first year that kind of make it stand out?
I think for myself, and a lot of people told me this, is that when you're on campus, when you're in town, it just fits right. And I think that, well, I grew up in the UK, but I think very much my entire life has been like very much blue collar, just grinding and get what you need. And Clarion definitely represent that kind of notion in being somewhere that is a community. It's more than just yourself. Um, so it's really good to embed yourself in that space, I think, if that fits you. In turn, I think, kind of like what I mentioned earlier in terms of being, um, known in the PSAC and especially in women's soccer, they're definitely more competitive programs. There's no doubt about that. But I think inside it's very different. We have some phenomenal programs inside Clarion from the volleyball. We're in, I think, the final eight last year in terms of with the national tournament. Swim and dive bring national championships back year in year out. Wrestling does the same thing. There's a high standard within the program that I don't think people appreciate if you don't know the school and you don't know what we've achieved. Some big names come out of the school in terms of being professional athletes afterwards. So it is a place where you can really harbor yourself as an athlete to be competitive. You have all the amenities you need to push yourself to the next level. And yeah, it's a bit of a gem, I think. Unless you know, you know, and when you do know, it's a good place to be.
Okay. Well, one of the hard things, especially for new incoming high school athletes into college, is really maintaining that balance between being an athlete and being a student. So specifically, how do your players really manage that balance to make sure they're successful on the field and off the field, and kind of what support systems does a school offer to help them on both sides?
I'm really lucky, really, that the coaching women for one, academia is never something to worry about. The girls held, I think we ended up the season with like a 3.4 GPA on average last year, um, which is phenomenal in terms of not having a pressing worry about it. Each team has their own mentor to lead the girls through everything to do. We have our practices designed late in the evening, allowing school to be focused throughout the day and ensure there's enough time for the girls to achieve their goals academically. And then we have different groupings of support from we have an office for tuition for every single subject we have. Somebody's in there, they can tutor you, help you get back on track where you need to be done. I think the biggest attribute I have to my academic success here as a coach and leading these women is each other. Like I have a lot of girls who are part of tutoring project, but also Clarion's really good for nursing and education. I have a lot of those on my roster. The support they give each other to succeed through the courses is actually um, really, really good, and I can't take credit for it. But it is the standard of it is right now where that my girls really look after each other to make sure they're on track, make sure they're hitting all their goals academically, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to see. To be honest with you.
No, that's awesome. Well, let's fast forward to October. Well, I mean, in the PSAC, it really starts, I guess, in mid-September, but kind of the heart of that conference season. Walk me through, you mentioned practice at nights, but walk me through what a typical week would look like in terms of when our classes, meals, practices, game cadence, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Monday's a full practice. We also lift at 11 a.m. We have a common hour every day of the school, 11 till 12. So Monday, Thursdays, we'll lift at those common hours, 11 a.m., and then practice late in the evening. On Monday, Tuesday is our pre-game walkthrough. Like everybody else in PSEC, we play every Wednesday and Saturday. So Wednesday, pretty much Wednesday's game day, sorry, yeah, but Tuesday is a pre-game. Thursday is a recovery session. We also have a lift on Thursday morning where we go through a lot of biomechanics and resetting the body with the strength and conditioning coach. Friday then to the pre-game prep we have, and then Saturday a lot this year. We're on the road, so um, it's jam-packed, never ending.
That seems to always be the case in the fall soccer season for sure. Well, in terms of the team and the and everything, obviously you've got your roster, but what about the rest of the roster? What does the coaching staff look like? What other support staff maybe help out with the team on a regular basis, and what's everybody's roles there?
Yeah, so we have so one of the biggest challenges we have in terms of this merger with the three schools is finance and budget. So right now it's just myself with a graduate assistant. We had some of the student become a GA this year who was a player last year. So she has a great connection between the players we have on the roster and seeing the expectations that we have as a coaching staff to move forward. Adrivanada is our strength conditioning coach that works with us in terms of growing the athlete and the biomechanics there for us. He does a fantastic job in doing that for us. Our very own AT is Lisa Roberts. She's phenomenal. She's really the person in charge of the program. Don't let anybody fool you. What she says goes, and yeah, if you're playing, it's all up to her, not me. So she's fantastic. And then we have people that come in and out in terms of helping with the nutrition balance and stuff, and supporting the players in different aspects, whether it be sports psychology and stuff like that. So we have a pretty good group of staff that really run things through, not just with my program, but everybody throughout the athletic department. So.
Okay. Well, what about you specifically? Talk to me about your coaching style of play you're looking to play there.
So yeah, so I grew up in the UK, so I think a lot of the habits I had as a player are not the most desirable transferred into the collegiate game here in the US. So we try to play with passion. I think one of the goals we have is that we don't mind losing games as long as the team earns it. So attitude, our implementation of what we're doing is very, very important to us. And then in terms of our actual soccer ability, once we set the tone and the tempo we want, is to dominate the football, is to keep control of it. But um, we know that we have smart individual players that can make the right decisions, that can really control the game for advantage. So we really work on making the players make the right decisions. It's very important for us to have the players have the knowledge and information. A lot of the times, if we see any weaknesses on other teams or might be in our own game, we want to identify options that the girls can take into the game, um, analyze it for themselves, and then create the right problem-solving moment for us to be successful. And I think that goes in hand with trying to find the right soccer players that have the nuance to be able to problem solve, not just hey, you scored 40 goals this year, that's fantastic. But what can you bring us in terms of problem solving, and making right decisions? And if you do something out of pocket, we can have full faith that you did it with good intention, not you know, just wild carded.
For sure. Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to leave you with one last question, and that is, if you had one piece of advice or something you think every prospective student athlete going through this recruiting process should know, what would that be?
Ooh. I would say just take your time. Everybody has their own journey. Um, it's not a race. For whatever reason, if other people are committing, don't rush to it. Make sure the school is good for you. Make sure that the coaching staff's good to you. The program's good fit for you in terms of where they're going, what they want to achieve. I think too many people will, try to get things done just because, Susie down the road committed, so I gotta get on my bike. No, just relax. What's right for you will come through. And I think that the biggest part of that is that, you know, soccer is a small part of your academic journey, and that's the reality of it. Where you asked earlier on about the transfer portal. There's too many names in the transfer portal, and that's because I think people are not making the right decision. I would always, urge that if you ever commit to Clarion or any school, to, as a matter of fact, that if you're going there and soccer goes horrible wrong, the coach don't like you, heaven forbid you get a horrible injury, the school still fits for you in terms of your journey and where you want to go. Um, because I think once you get in that transfer portal, it's not great resetting yourself again, and even becoming somebody that you're not, like who you're not. I think it's very, very dangerous too. So, yeah, take your time, make sure it's right, for your own journey. Don't get caught up in it.
Absolutely. Good advice. Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck in this season. We'll keep an eye on that PSAC, and hopefully you're hanging a banner here around Thanksgiving time. All right.
I'll take it. Thank you so much, man.
Take care.